Hello there, this is Jenny from Designs with Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I have another one of those make a bunch of cards with one pad of paper, so get comfy and let's get crafty. This 12 by 12 inch paper pad is from Michael's Recollections brand. It is called It's Your Day. It is a birthday themed paper pad, and because I send out a lot more birthday cards than anything else, I thought I would sit down and make a whole bunch at one time. Inside this paper pad is this piece of paper that has little strips of all of the patterns in the pad on one piece of paper. This pad also comes with 6 different solid colored pages. So to begin with, I'm going to take out this paper and I'm going to cut apart all of those designs with my paper trimmer. And I am also going to go through this paper pad and pull out all of the solid color papers. I say paper pad and it sounds like I'm tripping over my tongue here. I apologize. My camera is freaking out. There is so much gold foiling in this paper, and a lot of the pages are white background with the gold foiling. My camera could not figure out what to focus on. I even tried fixing it in the editing process, and it was just weird. It didn't know what to focus on. Okay, anyway, back to the cards. I am going to take this piece of paper and cut apart all of these pieces. So I did a card like this at Christmas. I will link that to at the end of the video and also down below, where I made mini slimline cards cutting apart the longer images. I know a lot of these paper pads also have what are meant to be like journaling cards, or not a photo mat necessarily, but something that you could put next to a photo to kind of fill in a scrapbook page, that make really good card fronts as well. But this paper is long, skinny strips, so that's why I decided to create slimline cards. Now that I have this nearly cut apart, I need to decide how big to cut my solid paper. The card bases that I will create, or that I have created and edited out of the video because my camera was freaking out, again, are pieces of cardstock that are cut 7 inches by 6 inches. And they are scored with the 7 inch on the top, so the long side up, at 3.5 inches. And these fit into a regular box of letter size envelopes you can buy in any store, even the dollar store. And they're like the size of a paper bill, a money bill in the United States. Okay, so for the solid paper, I'm going to cut these colors of solid paper down to 5 3/4 by 3 1/4 inches, and that creates a border. It's not exactly the same size as the card base. It creates a border to kind of pull your eye inward, and because I like that. All right, so we've gone through all 6 of our solid color papers here. This light pink looks like almost white. It was dark outside, so all of my lights were on, and wow, it really blew out the color on this video. Okay, so now we're going to start putting the pieces, or putting the cards together. My initial thought was to put this happy birthday and these rainbows together, but the happy birthday was just a bit too long. So then I thought I would take this kind of punny little thing that said "You're one in a melon" and the striped paper, which I really liked how they went together. I trimmed them down and added the pattern paper, went back and forth. This is really how I want it to be. I thought, do I need to add another sentiment? I did have already stamped out in this little tray on my desk a happy birthday sentiment on a piece of white cardstock. So that is what I ended up putting on for the sentiment. For the other 5 cards, I only used words that were part of this pattern paper. It was on my desk. I figured, why not use it? Okay, so the second card is a light pink cardstock. I'm going to take this strip of paper that has gifts. I'm going to take that little gold piece and the words that say "have another birthday already," I think is what it says. One thing I did is I put my ATG adhesive down, and it's slightly wider than that gold foil, so I did have to clean that up just a bit. And I've trimmed that off. You can see this is super fast. I think I have it sped up 4 times normal speed. And that's just because otherwise this would be a 30-minute video at double speed. a 60-minute video at regular speed, and that's cutting out all of the nonsense. It did take me just a little over an hour to create all 6 cards, which isn't a bad amount of time at all. It's just really long for a YouTube video where it's a repetitive process. Okay, so we're on to card number 3. This is the brighter pink. I am using those rainbows again, or the rainbows. I didn't use them. Oh, I did use them on the red one. Okay. Lost my mind. I am going to take this happy birthday sentiment. I'm going to trim it down with my Fiskars trimmer, and then I am going to stack it. Except that if I stack it, it is still covering up all of the design I just put on. So I'm like, okay, not that one either. And then there's a smaller happy birthday on that bright pink paper. So I will just adhere that with some foam tape right at the top of the card. And you can see how shiny this paper is. The light is just bouncing off that foil like nobody's business. All right, so we're nearly finished with the 3rd card here. And on to number 4. We're going to be using those happy birthday words. They need to be more the focal point. I decided to fussy cut some of the gifts out of this little strip that had the presents on it, the leftover piece from the last card. I did not go into the loops of the bow because the drawing of the bow was just too narrow and it would have just cut them off. So I will start by adding a piece of striped paper across the middle of this card base and trimming that down. I like to leave it long and trim it off after I've adhered it so that I know that it's the right length. I am going to use my foam tape to pop up these words and my reverse tweezers just so I can get my big hands out of the way. I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of that foil stripping, and this time I'm using my glue, liquid glue, so that there's not so much extra. The downside to liquid glue is it can kind of make a foil paper, you get glue on it and it's not shiny anymore. And then because I had planned on using the gifts without that pattern paper, I wasn't sure what to do with them. I did go ahead and add in some foil stars to go with our stripes and our gold piece. And then I just tucked one of the gifts there behind the birthday word. I did not end up using all 3 on this card. And all that's left is to put this card, number 4, onto our card base. All right, card number 5 is a blue card. I am going to use these words that say, do not forget to blow out the candles. And wow, my camera is freaking out. I did trim that gold piece off the top of the candles just because it was going to be covered by the words anyway. And maybe I can use it on something else. Or I can put it above, on top of the layers once I get the words glued on to kind of hide that seam. Lots of things going through my mind right now. I like the candles. There's lots of, see, there you go. There's the foil back on top. Lots of shininess in this pad of paper, which is right up my alley, but maybe not filming it at night. On this card again, I measured the pattern paper to the edge of the card base so it overlaps our card front a little bit. I did that on the first card as well. And I am going to adhere that gold foil strip right back down over the seam like I suggested before. Just to kind of hide that maybe it's not exactly trimmed perfect and that they didn't come together. Okay, so now we're on to card number 6. I have lots of leftovers. My initial thought was to use these words that say make a wish. The trimming down of them turned into an I got a little too close, so I went with you take the cake and the cupcake. I fussy cut the cupcake out. I did cut that out because it was completely off camera. I will add this confetti piece across the middle of our card panel. And that just kind of gives the words and the cupcake a place to sit. I'm not floating in midair. Kind of hemming and hawing about what I want to do. I do have, just long enough strip of that gold piece to go right along the top of our confetti paper. This time I adhered it with some 1/8 inch score tape, which I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I will adhere the word block down with some foam tape just to pop that up, add a little bit of dimension. I'm trying to use the grid line on my mat to make sure that my card panel is straight so that everything gets lined up, not crooked. And now for a sentiment, I decided to go with this Time to Celebrate, but I took my scissors and trimmed around it so it's kind of cut out instead of just cutting a rectangle around it, and then added one of those gifts that I had already fussy cut out. There's card number 6. And then I decided to take another piece of the solid print paper and create envelopes with my We Are Memory Keepers 1, 2, 3 punch board. So on the inside of the punch board, it has 3 columns: the size of your card, the size you need to cut your paper to, and the place you need to score your first line. So I am going to take all of these 12 by 12 inch pieces of paper, and for a 6 by 3.5 inch card, I need an 8 inch square piece of paper. So I've cut all 6 of them down to 8 inches. I will open up my punch board. This is super fast, so it's a little shaky. I apologize. I do prefer to score on the back side, especially when it is a white core but a colored paper. And the first thing I did was line it up on the left at 3 1/8, punch the top button down to create the cutout, and score on that line. And you'll see with my left-hand thumb that I'm putting my thumb in that score line and scooting it over to that left score line so that I can line it up there before I score the next line. I think I have a video on using the punch board. I will try and link that down below or at the end as well, if I can find it. I go ahead and put score tape on the inside flaps of my card, or my envelope rather. You can't put them on the flap that flips up because it is taller than the other flaps. All right, so here are some close-ups of the cards. All of these cards have an envelope that match the background paper that they were created on. I hope you like this Make a Bunch in a Few Minutes or an hour or so type video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Hey, interaction is interaction. Leave me a message, and thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you. I have connected here a couple of other videos from my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you have not already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Do me a favor and have just a really fabulous day.